When we have people come into our office who have been injured because a car or truck hit them while they were riding their bicycle and they were injured, one of the first things they want to ask is, what is the value of my case? That is something that unfortunately we can't tell you at the beginning of your case. And if you ever encounter a lawyer who tries to tell you at the beginning of your case what it's worth, go find another attorney, because that one's not doing you any service. That's not something you can determine at the beginning of a case. And the reason for that is that the value of your claim is dependent upon how you recover. If you have an injury that you never recover from, that is a more valuable claim than an injury that you do fully recover from. So the first thing that has to happen before value is determined or even evaluated is to have you get medical treatment and determine, are you going to recover or are you not? The next step would be then evaluating how your life has been disrupted and in what ways, and looking at what you're entitled to recover in damages. Under Georgia law, you can first recover damages that are called special damages, and those generally are lost wages and medical expenses that you've incurred for treatment of your injuries. Those are pretty easy to determine. You can see what the hospital or the doctor billed you, and with lost wages, you can find proof that you haven't worked in 3 weeks and haven't been paid and how much you make. The harder category is what's called non-economic damages. Those are things that you can't go get a receipt for. You can't jump on Amazon and buy another one. There are things like pain and suffering, and there are things like the disruption of your life and the loss of enjoyment of your life. Things like, I used to play golf 3 days a week and now I am stuck on the couch with a broken leg. When someone does that to you through their own negligence, they don't get to just walk away and say, well, that stinks for you. They're required to compensate you for what they've taken from you, just like they would have to do if they had damaged physical property of yours. They're entitled, they're required to compensate you for damage they do to you. Now, looking at those categories, that's how you determine, to some extent, the value of your case. But you also have to take into consideration what the available insurance coverage may be, because these cases all become about insurance money. How much liability coverage does the person that harmed you have? And so you have to look at that to determine value. Under Georgia law, a driver is only required to have at minimum $25,000 of liability coverage. So that means that to drive a car, you can go out and do damage to somebody extensively, but only have $25,000 to be paid for your insurance for what you've done. That severely limits a case if you have several $100,000 worth of medical expenses and the at-fault driver only has $25,000 worth of coverage and doesn't have any personal assets. So that also significantly drives the value of your claim. And even though you're on a bicycle, it is the insurance, the liability insurance of the driver that is required to compensate you for your claim. If you have been injured in an incident where you were on a bicycle and you were hit by a car or truck and you'd like to evaluate what type of claim you have, please give me a call. We're here to help.